Why am I doing this again? I'll come back with a review someday on it as a more fair point of view. Oh yeah. Well, I said I would do when I released my full series ranking back in May, and my Let's Play of Imaginators ended back in August. Now, it's been a few months since then, and I've had some time to let it sit and think about how I really feel about this game. Because my thoughts, they have changed, and it isn't as bad as I said it was back in May. But there are still quite a few problems that I had with the game during my Let's Play. And before I get into those, I want to talk about my personal experience during the Let's Play. So let's start there. I want to start off by saying that I had a very positive experience with doing this Let's Play. As a kid, it was something I always wanted to do, and it was part of the reason I started making videos in the first place. Doing videos on the games I liked in whatever format I felt most like doing is what I like to do. And I've enjoyed that this last year in a handful of months, so don't think that's changing. But, I mean, there are quite a few moments in that Let's Play you can see where I'm clearly enjoying myself. Some prime examples being playing with senseis that I liked, making fun of the game, and then, of course, the majority of part 17, where I'm crying laughing over Rudanya, as you can see here. Alright. A shrubba flubba sane. Oh God, I'm crying. Okay, alright, hold on. I do want to change the chest. That voice does not work with that. Hold on. Maybe?
Grubba!
Skylanders are stronger here.
Grubba! Grubba the flubba schlay. It's like I'm playing The Sims. However, as I was rewatching my Let's Play, there are several points I could tell I was playing just to play, and there's a clear point I noticed my energy shifted from playing through each level for the fun of it and changed into trying to get this thing over with. Funnily enough, that shift came after part 17, and I think that was because it became apparent just how little effort they had put into this game. The reason I say that is the mission to get the cake ingredients. Because instead of making a level, they make you go into several mini levels across the map, and every time you complete one, you have to sit through a small cutscene that shows you the next 3 options. Even though you already know where 2 are, it still makes you watch all 3. And I mean, that's just one of my problems with the game, but we aren't there yet. I really think that I gassed out with the Griffin Park Observatory level, and that's due to a major audio issue, and I didn't have the energy I wished I had when I got to Tiki Temple. But let's move back to a little more positivity. And I think the best, most enjoyable part of the Let's Play was collecting figures. And I mean, like, I wish I had recorded it so that way you guys could have seen the process, but I mean, it was just online. There wasn't much to record. But I mean, it took me back to a time in my life where everything was just, it was just right, you know? and I wish I'd never left that time. But other than that, I genuinely can't think of too much else that I would like to touch on that stays out of general problems and personal issues I have with the game. So we're going to move on to there. Let's move there, shall we? Right, so I'm just going to start off general and do a little bit of explaining. The general lack of effort that is apparent on almost all fronts, aside from like the original designs of the Sensei Skylanders, it's just so overwhelming that it drags down the experience playing the game as a whole. I mean, the story is almost non-existent, and what is there is so bare bones and incohesive, I lost track of what was happening at several points, sometimes within the same level. I think the biggest detriment to it is that it doesn't require as many levels as the game has for it. Along with that, there are only 3 normal bosses in the main story, and before any of you hit me with, but the Doomlander fights exist too, I'm going to stop you right there. All 9 Doomlander fights can be equated to the Koopalings in the new Super Mario Bros. Games, where they just exist for a level boss, and I would maybe be able to excuse them if they got progressively harder, but like, 3 of them jump up in a difficulty spike and don't even take place back to back. And like, now, like, I'm so glad I didn't attempt to do this thing co-op, because I can see how annoying the character customization would get, considering it stops you in your tracks to let you customize your Skylander. I mean, it's fine playing solo because it's just you customizing your character, and you can take as long as you want. But now multiply that. Like, just imagine playing this with a friend and an additional 2 hours being added onto each level because the cumulative amount of time you would both spend customizing your characters. What's even more annoying is that I ran into several bugs and glitches in personal play that would have me restart an entire level after getting to the end, or when the audio would mess up and it would either cut out or just play over everything else, like the aforementioned Griffin Park Observatory. And like, that's just issues with the game itself. I have my own personal gripes, which we're going to go into in just a second. But I do want to say that, like, developers work hard. I understand that they put a lot of effort into most games. This one just felt like they were being rushed to get that out, so I have no ill will towards the developer team that worked on this game. They did their best with having to rush out 6 games consecutively year to year. So that's why you can kind of understand why there was such a quality drop off with this one. I mean, just go back and look at them. You got Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, banger game. I'm actually getting ready to do my first personal playthrough. I watched Let's Plays of it, but I'm getting ready to do my own personal playthrough on the Wii, which is what I've been told is the quintessential way to play it. Then you have Giants, and Giants one-ups Spyro's Adventure. Then you have Swap Force, which, like I said before, I feel is the universal favorite of the entire series. Then you have Trap Team. Everyone was more or less okay with Trap Team, aside from the bugs in the game, but then you have Trap Team. And then on top of that, you have Superchargers. I love Superchargers. Even, like, the people who are like, I don't like this game, they can admit it's a good game. Like, there was a lot of effort put into it, right? With Imaginators, there's just a lack of effort, and the quality takes a massive dip. And that is an apparent issue that it isn't something personal to me. You can look at the game yourself, compare it to the other ones, and you can see the quality dip. And it certainly doesn't help when you have personal gripes like I do, but the quality dip is noticeable enough to make it an actual issue with the game. All right, so the personal issues, there's only 2 of them, and we're going to go over one and then the other. And I mean, they're a little tied into each other, but we're going to go over both personal issues. If you don't want to hear that, I know I have chapters, but we're going to go ahead with the personal issues. The first one being that the Sensei Skylanders are just so incredibly broken that on their own, they make all other Skylanders pale in comparison. And that's due to the Sky Chi abilities, which, while cool on their own, I feel like they should have been like a once per level ability that you have to earn for it. Like, you don't start with Sky Chi every single time you start a level, or you drop a Sensei in. You have to build up to that over the course of the level. And while, yeah, sure, you probably have to end up saving it just for the boss, and there's not many times else aside you get to use for that, it would make more sense, right? And it would also solve the PvP issue that people have. And if they remove the damage buff they receive in certain areas just for being a Sensei Skylander, then bada boom, the only issue to fix with the character obsolescence is locking Imaginator level cap at 20, which the Imaginators, that's another issue. Their existence is also broken. Like, they make Senseis obsolete at a certain point because you get up to like level 56 and you're like, well, I could try and play with some of my other characters, but this guy's level 50 and he can just steamroll through everything. And even if you don't have a Sensei, enough Senseis to get you to level 50, I think the level cap I have is like 36 because I have like almost every Sensei. I think I'm missing like chain reaction. I'm missing like 1, maybe 2 for each element. So you still get an insanely high level cap. And the Imaginators, their level structure, it's just, man, it's frustrating with how much damage that they can do compared to like, oh, I want to level up giants, right? Like, let's say this is your only game you have. You go to the arena to level up your giants. Bam, your giants all die. Well, what do you do now? You either reset and run through the combat arena again, or you just play through with your Imaginators, which is easier. But, I mean, like, it just solves so many issues with how useless I feel playing with my other characters. But the true issue, and this is my big personal issue, the truly big issue I have with this game, I can excuse the new characters being the focus of the game because that's how these things work. I can excuse the characters being strong because, oh, we want people to be playing with our Imaginators and Senseis as much as possible. I can excuse those, right? But what I can't excuse, and what saddens me, is the lack of hats to earn for your other characters, which makes you unable to put hats on your Sensei characters, which sucks for a few reasons, right? First, I really want to equip the stupidest hat possible I can on Wildstorm or Kingpin. Like, you have these two insanely badass Skylanders, right? And let's say you want to put on like some googly eyes that just like it's like a headband with like springy googly eyes, right? Why can't I put that on? That's not fair. And then second off, if you unequip any hat any of your Skylanders have from a previous game, you lose that hat forever until you go back to the previous game and get that hat. Like, imagine this. Like, for example, you get a giant off of eBay and you only have Imaginators to play in. Well, then you run into the issue of, oh, I want to reset this guy because he doesn't have the upgrades I like, but I like this hat. You reset, that hat's gone because you don't have Giants or Swap Force or Trap Team or Superchargers to put that new hat on him. And like, I wish they just pulled a Smash Bros. Ultimate, but instead of characters, it's just all the previous hats. It would be so much better than having to load up an entirely different game, hook up an entirely different portal just to equip a hat I like. And what I want to say, before anyone gripes at me, how hats are such a minor thing, why would I be making a point about them? Well, in case you forgot, this is the personal issues segment, and this is a personal issue I have with the game. Which, seeing as that's all I have to touch on with my personal issues, I bet you're wondering, do I like the game now? Imaginators had such potential to be the best game this series had. Superchargers had given it a layup for them to introduce a new primary antagonist that wasn't Chaos. They could have done anything with their creative design team. And what did they do? They released a game that had less than 50% of it being original designs, and it was tied into a so-so Netflix show. I tried so hard to find reasons to like this game more than I do, but it just offers so little to do. Like, I'm at the point where I am debating selling most of my Imaginators figures in a bundle and only keeping my favorite senseis and all my creation crystals, because Rudanya, can't get rid of that one. Which, I mean, if you're interested, message me on Instagram at theblue1_14 with any genuine offers, and I'll take you up on them. We can talk it out. But I honestly do not think that I can like this game. I don't hate it like I did before playing through it, but I do not like it, and I don't think I ever will. However, I would like to adjust its previous score from the 2 out of 10 I gave it to a 4 out of 10. It's still pretty low, but it's less harsh due to it not being scored low out of pure hatred. Hey guys, real quick, want to give a massive thank you and a huge shout out to all your support this last year. Want to say I have one more surprise at the end of this year. It's the best of 2023, and I'm looking forward to 2024, and I will see you all then. Later.